Hello everybody, Lawrence Fleming here again. Well, it is getting close to the end and scary out there. Yesterday, our fearless leader, and I can't say his name, almost signed a environmental declaration or emergency declaration. Almost. He said he decided not to sign it and came out with just an executive order, but it is so close. A month or two ago, they came out and, the fox is in the chicken coop. He can say and do anything he wants. There's no one going to stop him. They came out and declared that they can determine what an emergency is. If they want to say the sky is blue and we consider it an emergency, they can do it, and we can't argue against it. And under the emergency declaration, he can pretty much do anything he wants to do. If he wants to declare martial law, he can. And apparently they weren't quite ready yesterday, because as soon as he does that, they can go bing, 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 bing. There's something that was created back during the Eisenhower time. We were in the Cold War, sort of, and they were worried about the Soviet Union launching nukes. What would happen? We may only have, 10, 15, 20 minutes to get everything set up. Fortunately, we were at a parity, and if they launched their nukes and we launched ours, everybody would be wiped out and there'd be nobody left on the planet. And that was the only reason that they didn't do it. Mutual destruction. But to be safe, just in case we could win, they created a system. It's called PEAD, or PEAD, and the acronym means a Presidential Emergency Action Document. These were created so if we were nuked by the Soviet Union, they'd already have the orders ready, written out. All he has to do is sign them. So we can do all that in 2 or 3 minutes. And it's kind of one of those situations like, oh my God, the missiles are in the air, quick, sign these. And all these executive orders will be ready to go. And these are big classified executive orders that even Congress doesn't know what's on them until he signs them. And then he presents them to them. Here's a definition that I pulled down. PEADs are draft classified executive orders, proclamations, and messages to Congress that are prepared for the President to exercise or expand the powers in anticipation of a range of hypothetical worst-case scenarios so that they are ready to sign. That's the definition of it. He can declare martial law. I've said that martial law is coming. It's an election year, and they're going to lose big time if it goes normally. If they don't rig it, they're going to lose big time, and that will set them back. And the next president, even if it's not the big T, will start reversing everything that they've started to do, like getting our oil back to where it should be. It is, we're becoming a laughing stock to the rest of the world, unfortunately. And there's not a whole lot at this point in time we can do about it. It's not going to get better. It's going to continue to get worse, and they don't want to lose control. They like power. And you've got to remember that they are, including our fearless leaders, they're puppets of the people that want one world, GOV. This is getting so over the line on stuff. I got to be careful. I'm trying to keep everything going here and on Telegram, but I have to basically upload twice. It takes a little bit more time, and where I'm at, I'm not in the best of spots to do that. I'm better than I was. I can still upload right from here, but it takes a couple hours, and then I got to do the other one a couple hours, and then I can't use my phone during that time. I haven't turned on the hotspot yet because that costs money. I'm not quite there yet. I've put up a Patreon page that you can contribute to if you want to help with this. I, on my fixed income, can't do everything I'd like to do as fast as I like to do it. I just had to spend some money on my car. You know how it is, real life. But anyhow, it's getting worse, and it can turn bad on a dime. He just has to declare an energy emergency, and then they can do anything they want. They can say it's against the law to have cars that burn gas. Well, that would completely shut this country down, and we'd go down the tubes fast. But they don't care. One, they want to reduce the population. They've said that in their 2030 declaration that they're doing this. I think they said like 500 million would be a good population for the world. We're at 8 billion. That's a lot of people to get rid of. And in Revelation, it talks about killing off a quarter here and a half here, or a third here, and which totals about a half. It's all going to be the harlot. The harlot wants one world government that's easy to manage. Too many people, it's not easy to manage. Commune, for which we get communism. A commune is a small group of people that are like-minded. The bigger the commune, the harder it is to manage. It's been written about for years. They just don't teach it in school because they don't want you to know their plans. So these things are coming. They're here now. They just haven't decided when they want to pull the trigger. They're still not quite done cleaning up things. You know, they're declaring their WOKE stuff in the military. I sure got to watch what I say here. And they're letting people go. They just got rid of, I don't know, what was it, 20, 30, 40, 50,000, I don't remember what it was, servicemen just a few days ago. They're cleaning up. They've been getting rid of the higher echelon too. The higher echelon are the ones that could step in a coup and take over the government, so they're putting their own people in there so that won't happen. They're doing everything they can to take over this country and make us socialist. And they really don't want socialism. They want a dictatorship, but that's the first step. Look at Venezuela. And Venezuela is going to host some war games coming up with Russia and Iran and some other people in our own continent. They're going to be hosting war games. Who would they be fighting? Us. They may not need to. We may destroy ourselves first. But they're going to be prepared, and they may just see this as an opportunity to come in and take over. Russia is doing this Ukraine bit because they want power and territory. They don't really care about Ukraine. If you notice what they're doing now is they're not really fighting in the whole country. They're just staying on the eastern side. So they have access to the Black Sea and the Gulf, and eventually Israel. They just had their meeting in Iran. Erdogan, Putin, and the Iranian leader, Ayatollah, meeting. Gee, what could they be talking about? We hate Israel and we want to destroy them. The only one that could stop us, theoretically, would be the United States. We're not sure what they're going to do, but we may have to take them out too. What else would they be talking about? They're talking about oil and stuff like that because Russia wants to be the only supplier of energy in Europe. However, Israel just discovered this massive natural gas deposit. So their competition, that's the hook, to pull them down. The Gog-Magog war. God's going to pull them down. They're going to come down there for the oil. This stuff now is so plainly visible to everybody but unbelievers. So let's take a look at some scriptures here to back all this stuff up. I'm going to turn to 2 Timothy 3:2. Actually, I like to always start at the beginning of a chapter if I can, so that you get the full content. Just going in and pulling out one verse is not always good. That's what the bad church people do. They come up with these crazy doctrines. They pull out one verse, don't give you the context, and they build a whole religion around it. So always check everything I say. That's why I give you the scripture references. And go back and get the context. Okay. 2 Timothy 3, and we're going to start in 1. But know this, that in the last days, perilous times will come. No duh. I think we got that part figured out, but thanks for warning us in advance. This was written a couple thousand years ago. They knew about it. God knew about it. He's always known about it. So we know about it. For men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power. False prophets all over the place, including the main one. And from such people turn away. Well, we don't have to think about it coming. It's already here. This is the way things are going. I'm trying to get this finished before they come in and clean this site. There was a family here yesterday. I didn't get to talk to them. They just came in and camped, went to bed, and then left this morning early. So they're due to come in and clean this campsite to get ready for the next people. This is the best one. I like this site, but I couldn't get it for the week because they came in for one day. All right. Okay, let's take a look at, let's go all the way back to the beginning. We're told that in these last days it's going to be like the times of Noah and the flood, and people are going to be marrying and giving in marriage and partying and doing things about their lives, going about work and all this stuff, unaware. Well, we're not unaware because we're not part of that group. We're going on the boat, or in our case, the flight. But in any case, they're unaware. Also the time of Lot, but we're only going to look at Noah's time right now. So let's turn to Genesis 6:5. Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Just look at what they're doing. Disney is teaching all their workers now to be fully W-O-K-E. No, that is totally wrong. That's a place for kids. You don't push that kind of stuff on kids. It is evil, predatory. It's bad. Okay, in verse 6, and the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. So the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping things and birds of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. At least he found someone. And he found Lot. He wouldn't destroy Sodom and Gomorrah because of Lot. But he sent angels to get him out of there because the destruction was coming. They literally had to flee from there, and it was so bad he said, don't look back. Of course, Lot's wife did and became a pillar of salt. And they're thinking that there's a pillar out there now that's her salt. Salt dissolves in water. She could not be there in any way, shape, or form. Okay, she's gone. She's obliterated. Lot survived, and his remnants are alive today. Noah survived, and we're here because of it. We can survive through this. There are people that will survive. They're called Christians. Now, whether we go further into the bad times or not, I don't know. I personally say that we're not in the tribulation, not right now, but We're so close, and frankly, I don't agree with the 7-year tribulation. Nowhere does it say 7-year tribulation. We have the 70th week of Daniel, and people have assumed that's tribulation, but tribulation is not used for the first half. Now, we know the seals are going to be opened in the first half, so they've associated that with calling it the tribulation. But the only part of the 70th week that's got the word tribulation associated with it is the second half, the Great Tribulation. And we're told in these times there will be tribulation. So yeah, you can kind of do that, but it's confusing to call it the full 7 years that we have to see that. So we could be in it and not know it. We don't know. It doesn't matter. We haven't seen the first seal yet, if we believe it's the Antichrist. There were those that believe maybe the first seal might be Jesus in the time that he was on earth. Still a white horse, except for I disagree with that from the point of view that he was given a crown. Jesus already has a crown. He doesn't need any more crowns. But I'm giving you that there are multiple interpretations of these last days. Don't hate people that have multiple views. This is all prophetic. And unless they're given the information from the Spirit, we don't have any prophets running around telling us yet. We're going to get, theoretically, Elijah, maybe Enoch, maybe Moses. We don't know yet. We're going to get their 2 witnesses. And they will be prophetic. They're probably here. And they may have started their ministry because it's going to be the first half before, they're going to do their first half before the midway point, before the abomination. They may be the ones that kill the Antichrist, who dies and rises again, and then comes in and takes over. We don't know. It's prophetic. I look back at most of the prophecy in the Old Testament and come to the conclusion that it's really written not for them to apply, even though it's about them, but it's for them to look, for us to look back and go, yeah, God knew what he was doing. He told them in advance. They just didn't heed it. He told Jonah in advance what was going to happen. And he didn't believe it. He ran from God. It didn't work. God chased him down. And he made things worse and worse and worse until Jonah finally gave in, which is kind of what's going to happen here in this end time. The world's going to get worse and worse, and those that are meant to be saved will finally step forward and accept Christ. They're reluctant. They don't want to. They're like Jonah. They're fleeing. They're denying. I've talked to family members who are in full denial that we're in the last days. Fortunately, they're already Christians. They're just denying. Maybe they're looking at me and thinking it's because of me. That's all right. They're still Christians. They're going to find out eventually. Christ wasn't accepted in his hometown either. I'm not like him in any way. I'm not worthy to tie his shoelace, but I have his Spirit in me. So when people see me, they're going to see Christ in me if I'm not blocking it. We can't grieve the Spirit if we want to do the work of Christ. Okay, so things are getting very scary from the world point of view. We have to be happy, we have to be joyous because we're getting close to the end. Worst case scenario is the end time rapture people are correct and we go through the tribulation time. I don't agree with that. I'm just saying worst case scenario is we only have almost 3.5 years, just give and take a little bit. I think the ball start rolling this year between now and November. It almost started yesterday. That's how close we are. And it's only 3.5 years if it's the worst case scenario. Now I'm pre-trib or pre-bad stuff. Since I'm not really sure when the tribulation starts, if it started already or if we're in it now and we're still here, I can't really say fully pre-trib. But I certainly think we're going to be out of here before it gets really bad. I mean, if the bombs start dropping, I would expect we're going to pass them on the way up. You know, it's going to be one of those type of scenarios. That's the reason for the rapture. I also personally think that it's going to be Satan getting kicked out of heaven, or when he's coming down here to take on the Israelites and go after the child. Again, that could be us, it could be Jesus back in his time. But whatever time, we're close. Very close. Get your act together. Fill your lamps and be ready. That's how close we are. Okay. Until we meet in the skies soon, God bless.